Welcome back, you guys. I hope you guys are having a great morning right now. I'm in EFC, this is Blue Lines TV, and today I wanted to hold a discussion surrounding Trevor, Chalobah and Jules Koundé. Reports are suggesting that our interest in Kounde is still not over, but at the same time, should there be any interest for him, considering that Trevor Chalobah has done literally everything you'd want, a player who's been given an opportunity to show what they can do on the fields. Today, you guys, I had to bring on a very special guest today in football therapy himself, so we could just discuss what the hell is happening with the situation and maybe what is the best course of action to take in the future too. So I hope you guys do enjoy. Of course, you'll find all the channel links in the description in the cards above. Click on them, you guys. Stay tuned. Of course, Chelsea community, man. One love. That's how we do it. And without wasting any more time, football therapy. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Nini. Thanks for having me on, man. And it's a really good discussion point at the moment that seems to be going around everywhere, people talking about Kounde and Chalobah for good reason. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it, man.
Yeah, man, and yeah, without wasting any more time, we're gonna get straight into things right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
I wanted to get your opinions and perspective first on Trevor Chalobah and how you felt he's done so far since he's been given an opportunity.
Well, I mean, it's been pretty darn immaculate, man. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be one of these fans that, followed him closely in Liga, and I pretty much knew he was at Lorient, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like many people, I knew him as Nathaniel's little brother, who's probably, a little bit more talented in terms of analysing what people's opinions of him are right now. Do you know what I mean? It did absolutely sort of stink of Loney coming back, promising youngster. Hopefully, if he does well in pre-season, he'll get a really strong championship loan. That sounds like I'm denigrating him, but actually the championship's super strong, man. Especially
I agree.
Yeah, especially if you're high end as well, or maybe a lower league Prem team. I know Valencia and La Liga were looking at him, which would have been of course a high profile loan as well. Pretty much played every pre-season match.
Yeah.
I think he might have actually. And then I was joking around like, give him the Ballon d'Or in pre-season games, when they were like shining like that. And then when he got that, the call up to start the Super Cup, which say what you want about the Super Cup, it's a European trophy ultimately of sorts that you want to win, and he put in that performance. Suddenly everyone took notice. That was a surprise to see him start in that, and even more so, it was a surprise to see him start in the first Premier League game of the season, perhaps over, one or two options that could have played there, and then just dropped a masterclass. So it's really interesting because it's not just us Chelsea fans that are talking about him.
Yeah. It's
like these sort of neutral football pundits, analysts, podcast shows, YouTube shows. Suddenly everyone's talking about Trevor Chalobah, and he's like, he's in the light at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So it feels like he's untouchable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into that, but suddenly he's gone from like obscurity to like untouchable in like no time at all.
Yeah, and I think I 100% understand what you're saying, and I do agree. And for me, massive credit goes to Trevor Chalobah. He knew from the start, and this is what I think great management does. Tuchel likes to keep things open. It was a clear blank slate for everyone again. Take the most of these opportunities, make it happen, and that is literally everything Chalobah's done. A lot of times, sometimes I'll see. I don't know if it's just like how it's the nerves, the pressure that forces players to play within themselves. But for me, when you get an opportunity, not only do you have to do the job the manager wants, but you have to express yourself at the same time to show him what you can bring to the team, because that's how you cement yourself there. And Chalobah hasn't played it safe at all. And this is what's been extremely impressive by his recent form. He's not playing the safe option. He's not playing the safe pass. He's not passing responsibility on to other people. He's making things happen. And we saw that ourselves in that first Premier League game against Crystal Palace. I think 18 passes played into the final third, the most out of any player. Look at some of the down balls this guy was playing. That backspin pass to Timo Werner, some nice switchfield passes as well. Carrying the ball forwards into midfield, and it just makes perfect sense because this guy can comfortably play midfield and in defence as well. And they're the qualities you want in someone playing as a wide centre back, and I think he's passed literally every single test imaginable. So we both agreed that he's having a very good start to the season. He's getting opportunities from Tuchel. Tuchel's clearly impressed. Even after the Super Cup final, he's like, Chalobah, said his name twice. I have to think about this guy. I need to think about this guy, which is the best compliment you can get. So let's now talk about Jules Koundé, because it does seem like, really, won't he? Is he still going to be signed sometime during this window? And, maybe let's see things objectively. I'm going to ask you, what could be the benefits you'd imagine from signing a Jules Koundé, and what you could bring to Tuchel and obviously bring to the team?
Well, first of all, and just to further your point on Chalobah, I think from the opening game of the Premier League season, the opening game week or game day or whatever you want to call it, I think he's top 5 for progressive passes or passes into the final third, like a really creative metric basically, or a positive progressive metric, and he's the only centre back in that top 5. So it's very, very impressive. And that basically is testament to what you're saying about him expressing himself and not playing the safe pass. So I just wanted to hammer home that was a good point from you. But with Jules Koundé, I think we're right to make the comparisons, and this is why this is a positive discussion in talking about how one could possibly eliminate the other. But I think in isolation, Jules Koundé is a Thomas Tuchel target, to use that alliteration.
Yeah.
And he's this type of profile of player that, is probably, he looked at like, this is the exact kind of player that I want to success as Piliqueta, to be this, pressing and ball playing centre half, because he does exactly what I want him to. Perhaps he's had discussions with the board. This is my long-term planning. I want to hang out at Chelsea. I'm not going to talk like Mourinho and Conte and want something now. This is a young player that can play for a long time. A succession. This is I should say, this is speculation to a degree, obviously, and that's what you could look at the profile as a good player, but someone that can play in that position who's like the same age, I guess. I think Trevor Chalobah, who Tuchel himself keeps going on about the importance of the connection to the club via academy players. He's gone on record and spoken about that a bunch of times. So suddenly you've got, what's it called? An example of this, of your own sort of ethos here on the table. Do you know what I mean? 2 guys, 1 position, the guy you've already got, he's shining in certain ways. Now, I can't pretend to know the finer details, because regardless of this amazing Chalobah performances that is widely accepted as really, really good, does Tuchel still in his head feel like, is he this perfect profile of a Koundé? Do you know what I mean? I can't pretend to know that. But from my perspective, from a player like Chalobah, who can play as a centre half, who can play in midfield, who can play as a right back, when you're so comfortable occupying that kind of space and you have that kind of like cerebral awareness on the pitch, and he seemingly can pass, because we've just spoken about his passing stats, you have to just think, surely save, what's Koundé going to cost, 45-50 million pounds or something?
And even to add to your point too, I look at the comparison between both, and I'll be thinking, okay, what justifies Koundé to be worth 50-60 mil more than Trevor Chalobah, really? And for me, it's this case of diminishing returns. Like, I feel like as I've just consumed so much football over my life, I feel like I see things a bit differently. I don't think I look at prices, and it's not like an indicator of quality and value. A lot of times it's just what the market dictates. You know what I mean?
What it's worth to the selling
exactly
club.
Certain times you can earn more, in certain months you are going to earn if you sold less, and that's just the business behind it. And I don't know, for me it's more about what happens on the field, and I feel like I've learned to, but I'm still improving and just having like a blank slate in mind when I see what's happening, because a lot of times you'll pick up on qualities and details and players that you've just always told yourself aren't good enough, and then you see more. And I'll give you an example. Marcos Alonso, I never would have thought that he'd be a guy that I'd be warming to more. But I mean, he is a good player, and the way he plays with the team, how he uses his strengths, his body, he does provide a lot, and it's why he's still here with us after these many years. I need to just shut up and accept that, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I look at this whole Koundé and Trevor Chalobah situation, and to be fair, I don't necessarily see the outstanding qualities that really elevates and completely separates him to a different tier. And like, you know, it's not enough for me to see the club he's playing for, and, you know, he's playing for Sevilla, so this must be next by Z. You know, a few seasons back, I actually had on his brother, Nathaniel Chalobah. It was him, Joe Tweedy, and me. Yeah, we were talking about, you know, like development and, you know,
him pushing over Aguero.
Yeah, him. Yeah, of course. Not gonna had to mention that. But
Go
also,
back and watch that video, you guys.
Yeah.
Is it still live? It must be.
Yeah, it's still alive. It's still alive. But we were talking about just like player development and how it's not this linear thing that we always assume it is. You know, there's so many different factors that can affect how a player reaches his maximum potential, because that's what it comes down to sometimes. I look at it as, okay, these players that are 100% potential, the world-class ones were able to keep that level very high throughout, and that was formed by a multitude of things, like the right manager at the right time that gave him an opportunity, you know, an injury to the right player at the right time that gave him a chance in the team, the right system and setup, the right league you're playing, and there's all these factors that go into place.
Yeah.
And this is why, for example, you know, you can look at a guy who's 16, one of the best of his year group. 10 years later, is he one of the best players in the world? Absolutely not. It's someone else. And it's funny. I'm looking at this guy, Pape Matar, that we're being linked with right now. 12 months ago, this guy was playing in Senegal still. And now he's linked with all the best teams in this country, just like that. You know what I mean?
Edouard Mendy,
you know what I mean?
Our goalkeeper.
Like I said, and there's so many stories and examples of that, where it's just like, I can't like keep that same mindset of, you know, seeing things in like that limited booksy way of, oh, okay, because he's from Sevilla, he's from this, it just automatically means he's better. Not when the stats show that. Look at how Trevor's passing the ball, how he's moving it, how he plays the system. He knows when to step up, when to drop back, when to push up, when to move it, when to pass it. These are all the details that Tuchel will be looking at, and this is why he's getting ticks all the time, because he's fulfilling that. So for me,
I was gonna say that's another like positive attribute of Chelsea's academy at Cobham, because players are so positionally versatile that come through, and that is like just what Tuchel wants. You mean, just look at the players that we've got starting for us. Reece James can play wing back, right centre back, midfield. Mason Mount, manager's dream, can play all over
everywhere, all
over the pitch, literally. You know, false 9, second striker, number 10, number 8, as a 6, as a winger. He's done it all. And similarly, Trevor, Chalobah. You know, these players coming through, they get trained in different positions on the pitch, and they have that sort of awareness. And when you're in a high possession, high octane, high pressing, counter pressing style team. You need that positional awareness, and you know, he can't. He's a proper football nerd, Tuchel. He won't be ignoring that, you know. And honestly, at this point now, it would just be it would be beyond frustrating if Chalobah went on a loan, and also because of his performances now, nearly he feels like, you know, the perception of the loans that Chelsea would have thought would have been decent has to have changed, you know.
Of course.
Like, you know, unless for him to go on loan now, it would have to be a top Champions League team, and he'd probably have to, you know, say, I'd prefer that to the end of one season, come back and definitely be a starter. That's almost how it feels like it would have to happen. And you know, if he goes to like a Valencia now, I think everyone would be really disappointed, you know? Massive
disappointment. And I think, what message are you sending? Because you're not sending a message of you can work yourself into the team. Which is like this rhetoric that everyone, you know, it's this cliche rhetoric that gets spouted all the time. All you got to do is work hard, as if like life in general is like this fair game where you're you know, if you're like positive endeavors and hard work will just gift you, the universe will gift you for that. No, life doesn't work like that. We see it all the time outside. We've experienced it ourselves. We have to accept that's what it's like. And I think that if he was sent out on loan to bring in a signing that, for me personally, you know, I think he's still a great player, Kounde. But I'm always saying this, I don't see the point of signing him right now. And I know what the argument's going to be, oh, we can't afford to miss out on him for next season. But I'm sorry, we aren't a shit club. We aren't in the Tottenham caliber or Arsenal caliber, you know. Like, it's time for some people to raise their ambitions of how we are. You know, if we have to go for the best, to compete with the best clubs for them, that's what we do. That's the team we're in right now, and we've got to accept that. And I just look at this team, and I just think the last area we need is a defender, considering we still have tons of talent right now. A defense that was one of the best in Europe last season. And already you can still see, like, you know, the benefits is that, you know, this team's going to be even better as a team tactically, because why? They got a pre-season which they never had before, and now everything's going to be even better. So I just think that, you know, considering the talent we got there, this will be a massive kick in the teeth if we push through the signing for bullshit business reasons. And then I don't see how, you know, already we've seen how being linked to players like Hakimi and others have mean that we've lost certain different to other guys like this. I think you do that with Chalobah now, especially after, you know, passing every test with flying colours, 2 man of the match awards in our 2 big games this season.
30-yard screamer.
30-yard screamer, which he knew. And it wasn't just him just taking a punt and blasting it. That was the perfect execution of that technique for that goal. You know, he was like, I'm going to hit it low, hard, outside of my foot. This is the technique to use for that. And this it wasn't just a random punt. And this only players with proper ability and class. They make it look simple like that. And this is what I mean, man.
You know what else as well?
Yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah, we said it. We were saying, obviously, I said it just before we started recording. We laughed, but like Chelsea's obviously record £97 million signing Romelu Lukaku, coming out into training and latching on to Trevor Chalobah because he's so good friends with Nate. And, you know, he's already spoken in the media saying how it got him emotional when he scored. You know, like, that's your biggest and best and most pricey asset ever, saying how much he loves this new wonder kid who's performed with this. It's just that added little bit of almost emotional pressure, isn't it?
And I like that you said that too, because that is what football is about. It's those intangibles, things like team spirit.
Chemistry.
Exactly. But with Chelsea Football Club, I don't think we'll ever be a club that has the best players in the world in every position.
Right.
The reason why we are what we are is because we've always been one of the best teams. You know what I mean? We've never been a club there's been much divide happening. I mean, it gets brushed over very quickly and easily. You know, we've always had that spirit throughout many different groups and different teams we've had since Roman's taken over, and that's always been that same constant thing that carries us forwards. These are things that, you know, guys that have played sports before, played football, you know the importance of the power of the team over the individual, and this is why we do the things we do. So for me, you take that away, you take that little edge from us, in my opinion. But yeah, man, do you think personally Kounde is a signing for now, or do you think there could be spots for him in the future? Like, what's your take on that?
I think if we signed him now, it would be a little bit more turbulent than the club would have perhaps liked originally, because of Trevor and largely as well, depending on what happens with Kurt Zouma. There'll be people making an argument saying, oh, if Chelsea sell Zouma, he's a Zouma replacement, and then, you know, a long-term Azpilicueta successor, and there would potentially still be room. Excuse me, for Trevor Chalobah, but. You know, I'm not so sure. If you said to me, Jan, what would you have done now? I'd like to ask Thomas Tuchel as well, but I'd probably, if in Tuchel's mind, Chalobah is capable of executing what his plan was for Kounde, because like you and me can wax lyrical about Chalobah, understandably, but if there's something particular in Tuchel's brain that he had a plan for systemically, then you know, you have to be open to that as well, just to play devil's advocate, really. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately, he seems to have got everything right as a tactician, but I can't say, you know, he might be thinking, for all we know, like, can't throw a Kounde deal, Marina, because this kid is the real deal. He's mustard. But just being open to sort of all facets of the deal and his ideas for that right centre back spot. But I mean, he looks, the way he's so commanding. Like, you know, Trevor Chalobah, you would not be surprised, right, if he started against Arsenal, and, you know, they say Arsenal found a bit of form, and then they found a bit of form in attack, and he was commanding and just putting a few good tackles and more progressive passes. You'd be like, I'm not surprised this kid has done a really positive performance at the highest level. But if we bring in Jules Koundé and he started that game and was a little bit shaky and, you know, wasn't used to the speed of the Prem, you'd be like, I'm not surprised. It takes a while for a player, a new league player to come in and settle. Just look at those two opinions that you're not surprised for. That should alone be enough for you to go, all right, I know what the right decision is.
I fully agree with that. 100% agree with that. And, you know, as I want to say to you guys again, you know, I rate Jules Koundé a lot. There's going to be tons of spaces for him in the future. You know, just because guys are 30 plus in Aspie, Silver, etc., doesn't mean that their careers are over in the next season. You know what I mean? No. Already stacked there and packed in these positions. So I think
it's important to note, just like, I'm sure we're about to round this up, but it's important to note both me and Nini think he's a very good player. player.
Yeah, he's an excellent player. Yeah. But I do think, but I say he's absolutely perfect. No, he's still young, can improve. I think his passing could be better, not in the sense that it's like shaky or not composed, but just in terms of being, creating more like attacking threat from it. You know what I mean? Chalobah's
he's a system player, really.
Yeah, in that sense, I think he's very skillful technically. He's one of those guys where I can see him working in Tuchel's system, creating the overload, bombing forward. Sometimes he'll be the one that will like literally play like that, I don't know, like false wing back role where he'll bomb through those inside channels and leave spaces. Yeah, break the lines. That's what he does. But, that's not like a skill that is so unique that not many other players can do that. And of course, sometimes when you move the ball faster than running with it, you're always going to be playing a lot quicker than if you're carrying that yourself. And Chalobah showed the most passes, progressive ones in the books in his first like Premier League debut. If you're doing that already, for me, that is a statement move to make of look what I'm bringing to the team. And this is why I was very impressed by his whole pre-season in these past 2 games, because he's played with a statement and he's made that point. And I think now he's just done everything. He passed every test.
Yeah. Just to go on add to what you said, just to finish, one comment that I just remembered that Tuchel actually made about Chalobah is his surprise to his fitness and recovery. Which actually is a massive thing in English football, especially if we're going to play 60, 70 games this season, everything inclusive. Because Chalobah's, he's shredded, he's very low body fat, and he's built really well. He was just surprised how he could just play 120 minutes, like play all these minutes, go again, and then do the fitness test and be like, bang, he's good. Do you know what I mean? Almost like Mason Mount level. That really impressed him of how his just passing fitness test good to go to his level of intensity. That would be a big factor, I think.
A massive factor. And we're not expecting Trev to play every game this season. Who knows? He could make that happen himself. He has all the ability to do that. But, considering he's going to be getting tons of squad minutes, I feel like you don't need to invest 70 mil in someone who, is he guaranteed to be claiming that spot? Who knows? But actually, no, we probably would, because he costs that money. But regardless, man, there's been a very good debate surrounding this topic. Jan, of course, thanks for coming on, man. It's been very good. You guys have to check him out, man. Football Therapy, how do you not know? And of course, bro, shout out your second channel as well, man. I feel like a lot of people aren't really clued up on that right now.
Yeah, thanks, man. So yeah, it's a sort of passion project. It's like Football Therapy. It's just called Football Yannick, where I just talk about other things other than Chelsea. And if you're interested in my opinion on that, go check out Football Yannick. Nice one.
Yeah, of course, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat today. Be more content coming out in that, and of course, get involved in the comments as well. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.